Republican representative has suggested some cuts for Elon Musk's Department of Government Efficiency. And you're not going to be surprised who they've targeted.
We all agree that this is an unsustainable area that we're in right now, almost $36 trillion in debt, and we are spending more on the interest on our debt than we're going to spend on the National Defense Authorization Act this year, over $1 trillion. And so we've got to right the ship, and it's going to mean cuts. It's going to mean cuts to the 24% of the discretionary spending that we have. And it's also going to mean looking long term at the front end of some programs like Social Security and Medicare, not taking anyone off of what they paid into so far. But there is some waste, abuse, and fraud in Medicare that we can take those numbers back and add to our general coffers and our Treasury. And on the front end on Social Security, I think there's a way when people are living longer, they're retiring later, that on the front end, we can move that retirement age back a little bit.
So that was Republican Representative Mark Alford, who is straight up lying to you. Why do I say that? Oh, well, he talked about, the front of them, we could do some Social Security cuts. Why? Social Security doesn't add a penny to the national debt or the deficit. Why are these being included? Why do you preface this with, well, we're $36 trillion in debt, and really we could save some money by cutting Social Security? No, because there is no, it doesn't add a penny to the debt or the deficit. Social Security pays for itself through payroll taxes. Now, it's fully paid for, okay? Now, the only reason why these people are bringing in Social Security is, remember, and talking about, we're going to have to do the retirement. We're going to raise the retirement age. We have to. The only reason they're talking about it is so that they can give corporations a tax cut. Because corporations also pay the payroll tax. That's how Social Security is funded, through payroll taxes. And again, your employer pays part of that. You raise the retirement age, and then suddenly, all these corporations, and rich people, by the way, who also pay the payroll tax, they get a tax cut. That's the plan. That's the plan. Now, when it comes to Medicare, things are a little bit different, okay? Now, here's the thing. Medicare is more efficient than private insurance, okay? One of the problems with Medicare and why it's the cost is so high is, you're not going to be surprised. There's a lot of Medicare plans that are privatized. It's actually half privatized, okay? In the Medicare Advantage, right? Medicare Advantage plans are just private insurance. That's it. Okay, they're privately administered. Now, analysis found that Medicare Advantage plans actually cost the government and taxpayers more than traditional Medicare on a per beneficiary basis. Now, you might be like, what? Yeah, but, Medicare Advantage offers things like vision and dental, and maybe that's why it costs more. Wrong. Yes, they do have these additional perks, right? Which, again, if you actually expanded traditional Medicare to cover those things, and it's been blocked from doing so, understand, through the efforts of lobbyists, lobbying our politicians to not expand Medicare to cover these things. Traditional Medicare has a lower administrative cost. That's why it's cheaper. Okay. And now, one of the ways that Medicare Advantage actually has higher costs is upcoding. What's upcoding? Basically, what they do is they systematically assess enrollees as having more health conditions and to being sicker on average than is actually the case, right? That inappropriately raises total payments to plans, i.e., government, public money going into private hands. More of it because they're basically flat out, in some cases, lying about how sick the person on the Medicare Advantage plan actually is. The result, of course, being the company pockets the money. It's that, hey, would you look at that? I found the waste and the fraud. It turns out that's all a result of the profit motive from these private companies. Once again, we have found that privatization bad. Okay, it actually costs more without any noticeable increase in patient outcomes. It just costs more, and it makes a couple people that much richer. Shocker. Shocker. Now, I'm not saying privatization is all bad, right? There are some things that should be private. Do I want the government making shoes? No. No. Now, do I want Nike making shoes? Well, that would depend on whether or not they're using child slaves. Different conversation, right? But I'm not against the idea of private consumer goods. But when it comes to public things like education and healthcare, those should be public, because it turns out those are public social goods. Having a robust healthcare system and a robust education system that is for the public, turns out that's a societal good. Okay? It turns out that's necessary, and it works better when it is properly funded and when you don't have all this privatization that happens. Okay? And so, unfortunately, though, what you're going to continue to see from these Doge dipshits, okay, is a call to cut things that actually help people. Elon Musk wants to cut $2 trillion from the budget. Good luck with that, okay? And of course, what they're targeting is completely the wrong things. You could cut some money from the Defense Department, okay? Progressives are like, hey, Elon, cut the Defense Department just a little bit. There's no reason they need to have over $800 billion, especially when they failed their 7th straight audit. You could do something about that. Odds are, though, that most of what they're going to look at is their pipe dream of undoing these New Deal programs, Medicare and Social Security, and placing that public money into private hands. Because at the end of the day, this is not about cutting costs for the government. It's not about taking on the national debt, which the national debt, by the way, is a result of cutting corporate taxes and taxes on the rich so much while continuing to do massive amounts of military adventurism in the Middle East. Okay, George W. Bush took a surplus, turned it into a massive deficit, and we have never recovered. Donald Trump, with his first tax cuts for the rich, actually made that much, much worse. And unfortunately, he's going to make it even worse with his new round of tax cuts for the rich. So, again, if you wanted to actually cut costs, there are ways to do it without compromising these very effective anti-poverty programs, but they're not going to do it because it's not about cutting costs. It's about moving public money into private hands. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please like, share, subscribe, hit the bell icon in order to get notified whenever a new video is released. And if you want to support independent, progressive media through this difficult time where it seems like everybody is shutting down, you can become a member on our YouTube page, you can become a subscriber on Facebook, or you can go to my Patreon. It's patreon.com/Jeff Waldorf. Thank you.